I was in Chicago. They were doing the Watusi. Boston, Massachusetts. They done the Boston Monkey. Hey. I'm going back to my girl. I said I'm going back to Miami. Going back to my girl. All aboard the night train for Miami, Florida. I was in Chicago. They were doing the Watusi. Boston, Massachusetts. They done the Boston Monkey. New York City. They done the Boogaloo. Philadelphia. They were doing the Philly Dog. So I headed west out around LA. They were doing the Temptation Walk, and it's getting better every day. I headed on south down to Houston, Texas. They were doing the Alligator. I said goodbye so long. I'll take you just a little bit later. Cause there ain't nobody in the whole world can boogaloo like me and my girl. So I'm going back to Miami. I said I gotta get back down to Miami, Florida. All aboard the night train. The night train to Miami. I gotta get back. All right, everybody, clap your hands. Come on. We're gonna take a trip now. Yeah, come on. Going back to Miami. Going back to my girl. I said I'm going back to Miami. Going back to my girl. I gotta get back to my baby and take her in my arms again. I gotta get back to my baby. I ain't seen her since I don't know when. I gotta get back down to Florida and lay out in the morning sun. I gotta get back to Miami and have a whole lot of fun. Gotta get back. Gotta get back. Gotta get back. Gotta get back. All right. Going back to Miami. I'm going back to my girl. I said I'm going back to Miami. Going back to my girl. All aboard the night train for Miami, Florida. I was in Chicago. They were doing the Watusi. Boston, Massachusetts. They done the Boston Monkey. New York City. They done the Boogaloo. Philadelphia. Said I'm going back to Miami. Going back to my girl. All aboard the night train for Miami, Florida. I was in Chicago. They were doing the Watusi. Boston, Massachusetts. They done the Boston Monkey. New York City. They done the Boogaloo. Philadelphia.
Great guy. Ted Nugent. Where's Ted Nugent? Where's Ted? Huh? Look at you. You doing well? You are a handsome devil. Thank you. Great job, Ted. Thank you very much. Appreciate you being here.
And now, it's time for Ted Nugent's Spirit Campfire with John Brinkus. It's the physics of spirituality with attitude. Powered by Patriot Mobile. Switch now. Go to patriotmobile.com/Ted.
I just had to get that out of my system. John, happy February!
Woo!
Funny,
Oh my
God! I don't know
God.
what that was, but I like it. That could be a song. That's the foundation of a brand new love song titled Tits. Anyhow, how are you, John?
Well, good. Listen, I am so glad that you had to get that out of your system. We got a lot of really exciting announcements to make. First of all, Patriot Mobile. Everybody go to Patriot Mobile, sign up. It's the best wireless provider, only Christian conservative wireless provider. And then you see we're getting a little Remington little plug in there, which is good. But here, I got a big announcement, Ted. Big announcement. I've been telling everyone about this new platform that I'm building. And because I love everyone so much, we are doing the ultimate virtual party for that big game that's on Sunday between the Bucks and the Chiefs. And it's called Brinks, BRINX.TV. We are giving away $1,000 every minute. That's $60,000. It's an interactive platform. You have to register, though, at Brinks.TV. Herbert's got a commercial for it that we made. Let's roll the Brinks.TV commercial, Herbert.
Brinks.TV, the ultimate interactive network. Register now for free. Sunday, February 7th, it's the ultimate virtual party. You predict what's going to happen, and we're going to give away $1,000 every minute of the big football game. And don't miss Virtual Radio Row every day this week from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Celebrity guests and wild prizes. Brinks.TV. Play, win, repeat. Brought to you by Kill Cliff, the clean energy drink. ImmuneFresh.com, the all-natural breath mint. Boost your immunity, freshen your breath. And the Draft Network.
Wow.
Good for you, John. That sounds very exciting. I'm glad to be a part of that. So tell me about this big game. Is that the one where they throw the ball and kick the ball and smash each other in the head and go to the goalpost? That game you're talking about?
Yes, that's exactly
Love
it.
that game.
So what you're going to do is you're going to watch the game on your big TV. Ted, I don't know. You're going to be out hunting, so I don't know if you're going to watch it. But most people will watch the game on their big TV, but then on your second screen, if it's on your cell phone or your tablet or your computer, we're going to have giant celebrities join us for the game, and we're going to be asking questions. Who do you think is going to score first? What do you think is going to happen on this drive? And with every correct answer that you get, you're entered into a lottery to win $1,000 a minute, but you have to register at Brinks, BRINX.TV. It's free, and Ted and I are going to be on that platform debuting right after the Super Bowl. So we're definitely using the biggest football game, the biggest sporting event on the planet to launch it. And then we're coming up and we're going to be going strong on there, Ted, because we're going to have lots of stuff to give away, lots of ways for our fans to interact. So everybody can go to Brinks.TV.
Good. We'll keep promoting that. It's very good. Are you telling me that the Super Bowl, this big game, this big football game, you're telling me that it's the greatest sporting event in the world? Are you trying to tell me, John Brinkus, that the Super Bowl is more powerful in people's lives than November 15th in Michigan? Opening day of deer season? It's bigger than the opening day of deer season? Are you kidding me?
Now, I think that honestly, that obviously is debatable depending on the state that you're in. I mean, honestly,
Let me tell you, John, that sounds like a very exciting maneuver. $1,000 a minute, man. That's more than I make signing hats, which, by the way, I have signed a few thousand of these, but we have not got them in the pipeline yet. People are bugging us constantly. I've signed them. They're in the shipping pipeline, but maybe by sometime this coming week or during this week, they might be ready. But I got a few things I want to review, if I may, as we get ready to invite our very special guest. You know, we're always celebrating. I used the term back when we first met, John, the man in the arena, the person who's willing to put up with that swirling dust of battle and the competition and the challenges in life and make those sacrifices and take those risks. So we've always saluted the entrepreneurs who create the jobs that are the engine of America. And our guest tonight is Shari Fitzpatrick. She is the goddess of chocolate-covered goodies, and we're going to invite her on very shortly here. But I want to make sure that everybody at the Spirit Campfire, as we're going into our second month of 2021, a very interesting, if downright treacherous, and dangerous times politically in our country. We can get into the gory details of that later, but mostly the Spirit Campfire provides an ascension out of the quagmire, and we're going to make it, as we always do, extremely positive. But I want to tell all my friends out there that even though the Spirit Campfire and the compartmentalization in our lives to make sure we get happiness and joy and we spend quality time with our family and friends, we're still remaining in the asset column as productive citizens, that all that positive spirit and energy is still alive and well. But I think universally, John, it's being chipped away at by so much negative out there. So I want everyone who was here, and I want to thank everybody who is here. I want to thank Patriot Mobile, who provides the system by which we can be here to keep that positive energy. And in order to do so, we must always never be afraid to confront the negatives. And I have found that the best way to do that, there's so many good ways. We've talked about communicating with our elected employees, and we need to increase that dramatically. But I want to give a big shout out to a guy who I've scrutinized and vetted and monitored the so-called media and the so-called journalists out there. It would be good for everyone to watch Tucker Carlson. This man may be the last guy who actually makes statements and provides evidence to support his statements. So that's the first thing I want to say, is that Tucker Carlson is a great source of accurate truth, logic, and common sense. And I also want to give a big shout out to the people who have created this rock and roll fantasy camp. John, I did my third Ted Nugent Gonzo masterclass at this intergalactic Zoom internet thing the other day with the rock and roll fantasy camp. Brinkus, as you and I reek of positive energy and spirit, and all of our guests have provided just a tsunami of relentless, positive, uplifting spirit and energy, the people at my rock and roll fantasy camp masterclass were just the greatest people, the funniest, the most tuned in, the smartest, the most positive people, to remind me once again that if you seek the positive and cultivate the positive, nurture the positive, and thank and appreciate the positive, that it really will guide us to a happy day. I had a wonderful hunt here at Spirit Wild Ranch with Paul and Kate. They're heroes of law enforcement, and they've dedicated their lives to the last 30 years for my Ted Nugent Camp for Kids charity. And he was looking to make Kate happy on a nice hunting trip during the winter, getting away from Nebraska. And they came here and had a wonderful 3 days, and she killed this magnificent oryx wild antelope from Africa, had the time of their life. I also appreciate the positive because, you know, it was a year ago I lost my brother John, and it was last month I lost my cousin Chris, and it was just last week I lost my other cousin Chris. So don't think that this is a facade when John and I are all boisterous and uppity and cocky and smart ass, because all those wonderful elements of the human psyche are really critical. But know that Mr. Upbeat, smart ass, happy, you know, shit-eating, grinning Ted Nugent I experienced the same things you all experienced. I had a very emotional talk with my cousin Chris's widow, and it was very difficult. I plunge into the lowest of lows like everybody does, but if I've learned anything, it's to improvise, adapt, and overcome. So I said goodbye to Chris Schmidt. I said goodbye to Chris Shoup. I said goodbye to my beloved brother John. And I focus on the positive memories with those people, and it keeps my spirit buoyant. I'll never get over the pain. I'll always have that pain, but I learned to manage that pain by pursuing as much positive as I can, real positive. I don't have to look for it. I just have to acknowledge that it's there, embrace it, and live it to the best of my ability. So I thought I would share that. Another example of that is my Cameo, this Cameo app technology where people get a hold of me to say congratulations to a family or a kid who graduates or a kid who became an Eagle Scout. I have such a great time doing that for these people because we share such a love for effort and quality of life, which brings me, John, to another supernatural, uppity woman in the arena in the asset column of America with a great story of entrepreneurial risk-taking, entrepreneurial challenges, and a dear friend of mine, not just because she provides me with the most delicious chocolate in the world, but Shari Fitzpatrick, welcome to the Spirit Campfire. I want you to meet my buddy, John. John, this is my buddy, Shari.
Hi, John.
Hey, how are you guys?
doing?
Shari, thank you so much for joining
Awesome.
us. This is huge. I know Ted has wanted you on for a really long time, so I'm glad we were able to make this happen.
So Shari, share with us the story that I'm well aware of because you've heard, you've witnessed the Spirit Campfire and you kind of followed my vapor trail of piss and vinegar and attitude and fire all my life. But you really are the woman in the California arena. You are in probably the worst state for an entrepreneur on planet Earth, and you have improvised, adapted, and overcome. Tell us about your covering up strawberries with chocolate and how you've turned it into this wonderful family business.
Well, I got to thank you for the stage you've brought me onto, trying to lift us up and be positive, and then reminding me I'm here in California. It's like a tough act to follow here. But yeah, Ted, thank you for having me here. Your friendship and support means so much to me over the years. And when I was a little girl growing up in Southern Oregon, that's where my love affair with strawberries began. My dad always had a garden, which included a strawberry patch for me. And somehow it became my job to go pick the berries. And I had this great system, it was like 1 for the bucket, 2 for me. And that's kind of where my love affair with berries began. And then when I got out of high school, my older brother, Rick, invited me to Los Angeles at age 20 to be a rep for his mortgage firm. And I always wanted to be a California girl. It was there that my sister-in-law, Emily, introduced me to dipping my beloved strawberries in chocolate. And that became my signature gift as I called on real estate agents. So I like sucking up. I hate a hard sale. I like an easy sale. Everybody's my customer. And today as a speaker, everybody's my audience. So I would bring these real estate agents, these berries, and they would just go crazy. And it's not rocket science. You like melt some chocolate, dip some strawberries in it, wrap some, bows around it. But we were all really happy. They were happy. I was happy because they gave me their business. And after 4 years of being a successful stockbroker and then becoming a stockbroker and mortgage broker, I thought you had to have this prestigious job title to be what in my 20s I thought the, definition of success was. But anyways, I moved to Sacramento following my high school sweetheart. And if my rocker husband, Clay, was here, Teddy'd tell you I was stalking him. But, I wanted to get a little closer to home in Oregon, and it worked out. So, God's good. We have 3 sons, so I have 4 of him. And with $1,500 cash advance in a brand new town, Sacramento, I took my passion of dipping strawberries and turned it into a multi-million-dollar company. And I was definitely one of those, working hard, playing hard, just living and breathing. I think as entrepreneurs, it's in our blood. We were born that way. And when my business was in its 9th year, I was overwhelmed. Business was booming. I had 2 stores, a factory. We were $1 million in sales, and I had 2 little boys and a third one on the way. And when I was approached by a tech-minded, lawyer, promising me the world, I went all in immediately. When I started my business, I had no education or business experience. I just had a lot of passion. And I think when you take passion and hard work, that's when dreams become reality. Anyways, it took me about a year to realize I trusted the wrong person. And over the next 10 years, I'd be chipped away at till I fell below that 51% line that, I didn't understand. And my company was sold off, and I lost almost everything. And I had these 3 young boys to raise, and my heart was broken. I grieved losing my Shari's Berries company, like I'd lost one of my boys or a lost child, because it's still out there with my name on it. And Ted, how you get so frustrated with people, hey, how do we get your hats? Can I get a free one? How do I get your hats? And your shipping isn't there. Well, mine is, okay, we're upon Valentine's Day. Okay, we're in Valentine's season. It's February 1st. And I get all of these. I mean, I have to have a full-time person just to answer all the Shari's Berries customer service issues. Okay? So one at a time, we educate them. And so I want to say here.
Well, I got to tell you, John, has this been, Shari, your story is so consistent, whether it's our buddy that made people laugh so he wanted to pursue a career in comedy, or Mark Farner, who loved Wilson Pickett and James Brown, wanted to make a career in music. Your story about getting up early, sacrificing other endeavors and activities that families typically pursue together, because you had such a demand for your quality control, the quality of the chocolate, the quality of the berries you dipped in, and the adventure and the creativity of dipping grapes and dipping, God knows what you've dipped, woman. But John, this story is so consistent with everybody who's successful. You give the world the best you got, and sometimes you get kicked in the teeth. You give the world the best you got anyway. Shari, you're the American dream story.
You really are,
I'm a
Shari.
classic American entrepreneur, that's for sure.
Yeah, and there isn't, a lot of people want to say, well, how do you make it? How do you make it? The deck is stacked against me, and that's for
Overnight
success is for you, not for me.
Yeah.
It's what's crazy to me is I tell everybody, if you want to make it, you got to just make it. Just do it. There is no book to it. If you want to write a song, write a song. Like, just do it. And
just
do
start,
it, refine it, apply, rinse, repeat. And eventually you end up knocking through.
Yeah.
So now, Shari, your business originally was Shari's Berries, but after you got that name ripped off and manipulated out of your control, now the most important thing you can do on the Spirit Campfire, and I'm telling you, John, I'm a sucker for chocolate. All right, Shemaine and I love chocolate. We have to discipline ourselves not to just gobble it up all the time. But I'm not kidding. We go to this specialty store and this specialty place and this specialty dip berries. Shari's, it's the best in the world. Shari, if people want to get a hold of the most delicious chocolate dip stuff on the planet Earth, what is your new business called, and how can people contact you?
All right, well, I'm easy to find. If you go to a website to order your Valentine, something, and you don't see my mug and everything about me plastered all over it, you're at the wrong place, because Shari's Berries by my name and Buried in Chocolate, my new brand. I'm sitting here with my Ted White and Blue treasure that I love. I met Ted because I brought him berries backstage when he was in concert in Jackson Rancheria near me. My husband's a rocker, and it was his Father's Day gift. But anyway, okay. So my book, Buried in Chocolate, came out, and I'm a speaker, motivational like John is. And just under Buried in Chocolate or Shari Fitzpatrick, you'll know you're in the right place. And if you can't remember any of that, just go to berries.us. Not com. .com is gone. Berries.us stands for use Shari, the American working hard, playing hard, berry dipping, entrepreneurial American girl. Okay.
Well, you've really left a mark, Sherry. I got to tell you, and I know what it takes because of the. Tell us about the experimentation process, because you can't just dip any old berry in chocolate. You got to. How do you discover it? Every time I bite into one of your chocolate-covered strawberries, it's the best strawberry, because typically big strawberries don't have the flavor of a wild small strawberry, but your Gonzo giant berries, they're absolutely taste bud erectors. They literally stimulate my taste buds.
A saliva overdose, right?
Yes, indeed. Tell me about it.
Yeah. Well, 30 years as a berry dipper, I better know how to find some damn good strawberries. I live in the strawberry capital of the world, California. We're suffering and hurting here, but we do make some awesome berries. We supply our country with 90% of its strawberries every year. And UC Davis has these awesome new varietals of strawberries that are just awesome. So I'm picky. Every 3 weeks, like, okay, I call it, I'm going out, I'm going to go, like you go shed hunting, you're going to go scope it out when you're going to go hunting. That's what I do, because every 3 weeks the berries change, and it's like having Oompa Loompas in the back. It's like it's a commodity, and I've gotten really good at it, and I'm picky. And that's why, you can get a white men's dress shirt at Kmart or Sears or Nordstrom's. The same description, but they're different. So I would rather put out a top quality product, because people are sending my berries for special events, your anniversary, someone's birthday. People spend more money on somebody else more than their self. You want the best. And so, people think they're sending berries from me because it has my name on it, but you've got to move with me to Buried in Chocolate, ShariFitzpatrick.com. if you want the real McCoy.
And when you say buried in chocolate, it's not Buried, it's Berr. It's buried, like in berries. Hold that up. Show us what you got there.
Can you see it? So this is my book, Buried in Chocolate. Oh, and look. See, you said I dip everything. So my book is dipped in chocolate too. You can send somebody chocolate covered passion. No, it's trademarked, the first book in the world with calories. So you can eat my book and read it too. So anyway, I would dip you in chocolate, Ted, if you ever wanted a stunt. But yeah,
I'll remember
my
that.
wine. Okay, so I need to know, did you give your beautiful wife my chocolate dip wine?
I did.
Wine time?
We've got that. We're going to have that for a special occasion right around Valentine's Day. Yes.
Oh, good.
She dips the whole damn bottle, John, in chocolate.
You can wake up with a cavity and a hangover at the same time. Woo!
Well,
Yeah,
Barry,
I live in it.
Sherry, God bless you. I wanted to celebrate and let the world know that no matter what your dream, whether you want to build bridges or you want to just dip some killer berries in chocolate, that you, like John said, you just got to get up early. You got to try hard. You got to be willing to stumble and then get back up, dust yourself off. Yep. And I think you really embody that.
Well, us entrepreneurs aren't quitters. And I do have, I love encouraging entrepreneurs, and especially in this time where people need some hope. They need some motivation, some inspiration. It's the beginning of a new year. And a lot of people have an idea or a secret family recipe, and now's the time to take it out for a spin. So I've got my new Sherry show, and thank you for the little cameo you sent me. I played it and everybody loved it Thursday night. But
My pleasure.
It's low-hanging fruit, no pun intended, but just today I received some toffee from somebody. It's hard to be on a diet too with that around, but so people send me their ideas, and if I can do it with chocolate dipped strawberries with $1,500 cash advance on a credit card, today Berries is a $50 million company. So anyways, if I can do it, so can you, and I just hope nothing but sweet success for everybody watching tonight, and remember to make sure you send your Valentine from The Real Sherry this year.
Yeah, good for you. Well, I wanted to let everybody know about your story because it's my story. It's John's story.
It is.
It's everybody who reaches a level of satisfaction and inner success. It's about effort, about priorities. It's about work ethic. It's about a vision. And about never giving up. So, Sherry, I would recommend her book, John, Buried. Is it Buried in Chocolate? Is that the name of the book?
If you spell it grammatically correct, B-U-R, I got that too. So it's Buried in Chocolate, and it's a dozen chapters, like a dozen berries in my most famous gift box. And it's a dozen lessons that I learned while I took my hobby and turned it into passion, profits. And Clay, my husband, always tells me, man, you need a hobby. But when you love your work, that's the key to success. Is if you love your work, it doesn't feel like work. And so life is short. Do what you love and have a fruitful life. That's my
John. The reason I invited Shari onto this program, not just because I love her and I love her product, but it's another example in the far extreme world of dreams that you dream of chocolate-covered berries. So I think what has happened is Shari has become a lightning rod in a good way for inspiration and guiding people and teaching people and nurturing them to pursue their own dream, no matter how wild and out of the ordinary it might be.
The wilder, the better. The funkier, the better.
Totally. I love it. Well, Shari, listen, thank you so much for joining us on the Campfire.
Thank you, John. Thank you, John. I'd be a horrible entrepreneur if I didn't tell you I was stalking you a little bit, John.
Uh-oh.
And I got to let you know that I have an impressively strong screenplay proposal for my story. I mean, the first 20 years were published by Pelican Publishing, and the last 10 years, I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Joy about the damn mop. I blow her story out of the water. So let's do a screenplay and get a movie deal together, all right?
Let's do it. Totally. Absolutely. I love it. I love it. Well, send me the screenplay. Make sure, Courtney, you give Shari my email and send it on, and we'll read it, and we'll try to make magic happen.
Shari, you give the family our very best. It's great seeing you. You look great. You sound great. Your product is better than ever. And if I ever decide to get my ass out of Spirit Wild Ranch and head back to visit my buddies up there in Northern California, I know who I'm going to call.
Well, we have a new bed and breakfast called bedandberries.com. You stay here. We've got 10 beautiful private acres, and it supports my ministry in Mexico called boysandberries.org. And that supports my boys in Mexico that live at the dump and don't have a bedroom. So people are sleeping in my boys' old rooms. I'm an empty nester, and it supports my kids in Mexico that don't have a room. So that's my new passion project. Yeah.
Congratulations with everything. Our very best to your family. Godspeed, Shari.
Nice to meet you, John.
Good to meet you. God bless
Thank you.
All right, Ted. Here's what I think we do a terrible job with in this country. And I mean this. This has been a passion of mine for a very long time. If the average person in high school, I literally said, and this is a true story. I had my hairdresser in L.A. said that her counselor wanted her to go to get psychological help because she wanted to be a hairdresser when she was 16.
God.
That hairdresser got out of high school, got her license, started cutting hair, and was making over $100,000 from year one. She was making around $300,000 when she was 20. And I always tell people, I'm like, now do the math. Let's say you wanted to go to med school and you wanted to become a doctor, an honorable profession in its own right, but do the race on who is making more money, the doctor or the hairdresser. And I don't know why we as sort of a society, we say plumbers, electricians, hairdressers, landscapers, like whatever. We kind of like shun that and say, oh, no, you don't want to do that. You want to go do something else. I'm telling you, hairdressers, plumbers, they're entrepreneurs. That's what they are. And you can do anything you want and make money at it if you're good enough at it. I think Shari is a great example of there is no book for that. And we as a society need to embrace that entrepreneurial spirit.
Wouldn't it be an enormous and much needed hallelujah upgrade if some school in America actually had an entrepreneur curriculum? And let me give you a couple examples. All right, Shari did it with berries. I did it with a guitar. Our buddies have done it with jokes and comedy. I have a buddy who was a truck driver. In fact, I just did Tim Trey. Tim, I know Tim's watching. Tim, did I do a good cameo for you? Tim is a cross-country trucker. I don't know how these guys survive because, well, I guess I do because that's what I did with the Amboy Dukes and with my touring for so many years. I was a cross-country rock and roll trucker. But I have a buddy who did the trucking thing, and he'd have a full truck and he'd get his payment for the maximum truck, make sure he took care of those tires right, make sure he took care of that diesel engine okay, make sure he took care of his body okay, make sure he got ample sleep okay, make sure that everything was organized and professional so he could get the goods that he's paid to get from point A to point B. Okay, that's trucking job description 101. Well, once in a while, he would find that he didn't have a load to come back all the way. And he figured, how stupid is it to drive an empty truck across the country? So he dug deeper and didn't go with the status quo system of you get a good contract going one way, but it's no good if you go home empty. So he made it a point to always make sure that no matter when he was driving his truck, it's full of product, so he gets paid. Well, he figured out a system by digging deeper and trying harder. He taught a couple of his trucking buddies the same trick so that they were compensated for time on the road and effort put forth. Well, he ended up selling that concept for hundreds of millions of dollars. And and I don't mean to say this in a disrespectful way, but he was just a trucker, which, by the way, without just a trucker, you and I wouldn't have any food or clothing or anything. So he took a simple job description. You know, I know guys who did that by cleaning factories. They cleaned them so good, they trained other guys to clean them to his professional level. He sold that company for hundreds of millions of dollars because he was really good with a broom.
Totally. And that's it. You know, what's funny is that when you sit back and at the end of the day, we're just people. And when you say like, wow, that guy, a lot of people will sit back and say that guy figured something out or that girl's way smarter than I am. I honestly, I'm telling you, what's the value proposition? It's not that difficult. What's the value proposition? Wait a minute. People need X, and I need to figure out a way that they can get X easier, more often, more efficiently. Whatever it is, that's a business. It doesn't matter what it is. And Ted, a lot of people will say to you, I imagine, oh, you're a rock star. You make so much money, and you blah 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 blah. Right? You're a dude who plays a guitar who happened to be able to monetize it. Yes, and you want to know why you were able to make money? Because you tried really hard. Really hard. I mean, it wasn't like it just fell out of the sky.
And remember, I graduated from high school, and I think Sally did all my homework for me. I don't know how I got a B- average because I don't remember nothing. I was already had the Amboy Dukes. I had the Lourdes in junior high. I had the Amboy Dukes through high school. So I never paid attention. But I knew that in order to get that Gibson Birdland, I had to earn money to pay that outrageous price. So I worked at gas stations. I shoveled snow. I cut lawns. I washed cars. I delivered newspapers. I sold night crawlers. There was not a school curriculum that said if you want stuff, you have to be compensated for Herculean effort. And then I never got into this to make money. I got into this to play my guitar and play tight stuff like James Brown and Wilson Pickett taught me. And so the Lourdes practiced relentlessly. I'm sure we weren't making minimum wage. I'm sure I was making like $10 a week, but gas was only $29.9 at the time. So my point being is that Shari's Berries Buried in Chocolate, Shari Fitzpatrick's story, your story, my story, when you love what you do and you want to do it to perfection, you want to do it as good as you possibly can, including my hunting business. John, what's my job description? Rock and roll and hunting. Are you kidding me? And that's because people saw that I was excitable and passionate about a quality hunting experience. So they would say, how do I get into it? Where should I go? And I go, well, this guy had a really good hunt for deer in this swamp by his farm in northern Michigan. Contact Claude and he'll tell you. So I got so many requests for how to have an introductory and quality outdoor experience that I started Sunrise Safaris. And now we book hunts and all our hunts are sold out. I employed my son Toby, my buddy Paul and Jim and Bob. I employ Linda, and it's because I rock and roll and hunt. It's my passion, but I do it really, really to the absolute best of my ability. And if I decided to cover berries in chocolate, I'd give Shari a run for her money, because that's how I approach things. And here's the trick. I'm not Superman. I'm just a doofus from Detroit. This isn't the TED system. It's the system. You can do it as a golfer, as a plumber, as a carpenter. You can do it any way you put your heart and soul into.
Yeah, it's amazing, and I've spoken to my kids a lot about this. When you look around the world, and like literally, you're taking a drink of water. You literally unscrewed the cap. Do you want to know what? That cap is many billion-dollar businesses. Just the cap.
Yes!
Somebody made the mold for the cap. Somebody made the plastic for the cap. Yeah. Someone made the design for the cap. Those are all different businesses. It's everything. When you look around, everything is a business. Everything. And I try to train my kids. I'm like, look at everything. Look at things that you like and take them apart and say how many different businesses fall underneath that umbrella. And people are... I've met some amazing people along the way in my journey, and a couple of people who come to mind. I was on a flight one time, and the woman sitting next to me, just having chit chat. She was. I said, "What do you do?" And she said, "You ever hear of the ice cream Dryers? Not Briars. Briars is East Coast and Dryers is West Coast." I said, "Dryers ice cream? Yeah, I've heard of that." She said, "You know Girl Scout mint chocolate chip?" I said, "Yeah, that's my flavor." I said, "What?" She said, "I develop ice cream flavors." I'm like, that's a job? Like,
how cool is
that? That's our job.
But
is to make ice cream.
It's everywhere. I think Shari brought up a very important point. We try to keep things positive during these very negative times, especially with the bullshit of the communist Chinese viral attack. I think now is the time. If you have a hunch, if you have an idea, if you're good at something, we lost a buddy of mine, Damon Lynch, just a young man who loved the outdoors and loved to work with wood. He was really meticulous about carving wood and doing finishing, running boards and trim. And he became so known and so famous for such quality woodwork. He turned his little hobby passion into a full-time job, and he made lots of money. Fred Bear is another perfect example. He was already doing woodwork in Detroit during the Industrial Revolution, but he made bows on the side just for a couple buddies of his. But he was so meticulous and dedicated himself to such trial and error, and that's it, man in the arena again. You know, when you're making a bow out of an Osage orange stave or a cedar staff, you find which casts better, which draws smoother. So anything you choose, you want to make Girl Scout cookie ice cream, you can do that. So I think the Ted Nugent Spirit Campfire, it really has celebrated in every show we've done that somebody, every one of our guests, and every time you and I have done it without guests, it celebrates the dreams and the entrepreneurial visions that really is the engine for a quality of life in America. And I've got to comment on this. You don't need to have lots of stuff. If you can pay for your home and your car, eat quality food where you don't throw it away, quality sustenance that's not superfluous and indulgent, and you take good care of your sacred temple, you don't need to be a millionaire. You don't need to make lots of money. You need to just do the things you love to do. If you live in a small place with a normal pickup truck and you eat normal food, John, the sky's the limit. By the way, this isn't just presumption on my part. That's how I was forever. In fact, that's how I am today, even though I got lots of stuff, which reminds me I'm having this outrageous auction, the Ted Nugent Gonzo auction. We'll be talking about it on March 5th and 6th at Tucker Hall in Waco, Texas. I'm selling, because I've accumulated so much stuff, I'm having an auction selling hundreds and hundreds of the most beautiful firearms you've ever witnessed or fondled in your life. Guitars that will blow your mind, Broncos, Hellcats. I'm selling so much stuff because I'm a simple guy. and I don't want to pay the insurance. I don't want to have to clean hundreds of guns every day. I don't want to have to inventory. I don't want to have to buy more safes for more guns. So my point is that this isn't the mantra of a rich rock star. I'm a pragmatist. I work hard, I spend wisely, but I've accumulated so much stuff, I'm going to try to streamline for my next 20 years, make things simpler. My point being is that simple is smart, and you can do it in any career, endeavor, or profession that you choose in 2021.
Absolutely. And I think one thing that the last 12 months of craziness have really taught us is I think everything got shaken up, like universally. The amount of business opportunities that now exist, there are holes that have been poked in every system that have created new opportunities for people to take advantage of.
Yep.
And if you can stand back, take a look at the playing field, understand this company is now thriving, this company is now struggling, here's the way people are behaving. There's more opportunity than ever because my eyes certainly have been opened up to what the world really needs and what they really want right now. So a lot of the traditional pathways that you thought, well, you know, this is what I wanted to do, they've changed. And you got to improvise, adapt, and overcome. And I think that's one thing that I can be grateful for in the last 12 months. The Spirit Campfire wouldn't have existed unless this craziness happened. And I'm grateful for that.
Yep. And I think a real important point is that is lost oftentimes in this modern age is that the truism that life isn't fair and nothing is easy. If something you do is easy, you ain't trying hard enough. So every story has a foundation of struggle. And another truism I'd like to comment on is that minimum wage is about minimum effort. So many people that own McDonald's franchises and are multimillionaires started out serving burgers and fries. That's an honorable profession. But if you look at it that somebody's got to give you a raise, but you're not willing to raise your quality and productivity of work, you're a zombie. Minimum wage is about minimum effort. And I know it's a struggle to get out of that sometimes. I did it forever. But never think in terms of minimum. Minimum is a self-inflicted shackle. If you get there bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, you show up early, and if you see some trash, even though it's not your job, pick it up. If you see a broom and some dust, don't wait to be told, dust the broom. If you're serving burgers, do it with a smile and friendly. Your manager will notice. You will move up the ladder. If you're a guitar player and if you play the part, you know, the way it's supposed to be played, you're going to stay like that forever. But if you see the part and you can put your fire into it and you perform it with such piss and vinegar, people go, you should see this guitar player, man. The guy's breathing fire. All of a sudden, instead of 12 people showing up, 20 people will show up. And if you really deliver that music that you believe in, first of all, you got to look like you believe in it. You got to go for it. You got to have that fire and that passion. All of a sudden, those 20 people are going to be 200 people. And instead of you getting $10 a night, you're going to get $80 a night. And I didn't think that way. It just that I just had to play the way I played. And all of a sudden, there were so many people. I'm going, I should probably be getting paid more, because there's more people here. So it's literally Entrepreneur American Dream 101, which is not only not taught in schools. I think just the opposite is taught in school, that somebody owes you something instead of you delivering so that you earned that upgrade.
Yeah, totally. And, you know, a lot of people have been talking about, you know, oh my God, there's got to be nothing like playing on a stage in front of, 100,000 people or whatever. Here's what's interesting. And this is from athletes to artists to everyone. If you get on that stage and you're playing in front of all these people, at that point, that is way easier than playing for a room of 10 people. Because that playing the room for 10 people, you're getting feedback so intimately, and you have not made it to an extent. You haven't mastered your craft yet, and it's harder. You got to plow through the 10 people and go to the 100 people and go to 1,000. to get there. You can't just go from 0 to 100,000. You got to go through all those successes and failures. And that, I think people want the immediate gratification. Ted, you played for stadiums and for the largest crowds ever because you worked so freaking hard. You kept playing. It's the Beatles in Hamburg, Germany. It's like mastering your craft. You have to do that first, then you find your audience.
And John, wouldn't you say it's accurate to note that when I played in front of hundreds of thousands of people, I sure go for it, man. You could throw a crowbar up on stage, I'd catch it in my teeth and chew it in half. I am so fiery about my music. But isn't it true, John, when I play my guitar in this man's cuckoo's nest, all by myself, you can feel the passion I have for it. Yeah, I don't need lots of people to go, hey, that's really good. I'm playing because the music makes me do it. So if you're gonna pursue an athletic career, you can't just perform when you're in the stadium. You got to perform like a son of a bitch before you ever get to the stadium. Am I right about that?
Oh, totally. You know, Brett Favre had a great line that you get paid to practice. He's like, the games are free. I'll play those for free.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I got to practice, man. That's where the difference is made, because everybody likes to look at the end result. And obviously it's a process. That process is one that you need to really revel in. And, you know, when there are a lot of people, especially in our Campfire audience, they're sitting back and they're lobbying, and you can tell that our audience, I honestly believe this, Ted, I think our audience is a little different than if you were to take the average swath of people, because everyone who's gathered around, who's listening right now, is made of positive energy. That's why they're here. That's why they're listening to us right now. That positive energy can be applied for you in every facet of life. So if you're listening to this, know you've got what it takes. You really do.
Sure. I think one of the great Native American quotes I read here recently, which was an emotional time, because as I was reading these profound statements, I realized that the one that summarized it is that, I forget which Native American, but I'm going to whip that book out again in next week's Campfire. The statement that God has already given you everything you need. Oh, yeah. I just had a wonderful talk with Shemaine and my son Rocco, and we are all loaded with gifts from God. But far too many people don't acknowledge that or dig to find them and then unleash them and nurture them. We all already have everything we need. We just have to learn. What did one scientific report say, that the average person only used like 2% of his brain?
Yeah.
I mean, it's some embarrassing number. I mean, I think the Spirit Campfire resonates and connects. And that's why I started raving about my rock and roll fantasy camp master classes. Boy, these people are so tuned in. They are so witty and cognizant of their trials and trails of life. And when they'd mention a concert from the 60s, I was able to mention all the bandmates' names, the songs we did that night. I even referenced some of the stage outfits I was wearing back in the 1960s. And that's because I love life. I think that every breath I take, as I also mentioned at the beginning of this Campfire, how I lost my brother John. We all get sucker punched. I lost my cousin Chris Shoup from Pennsylvania. I lost my cousin Chris Schmidt. Yeah. We're all going to get sucker punched, but what do you do with it? What will you do with the rest of tonight? What will you do with tomorrow? Will you call a family or a friend and tell them you love them? You ask them how they're doing and listen, and maybe give them some suggestions if you've made that stumble in the past. You know, back when I messed up, I had to do this and that, so this might help you. So I find this in our communication, John, and the guests that we have, and certainly my beloved family members, and again, strangers in a rock and roll fantasy camp. There is such a human love and connection. I know that there's a lot of hate out there. I know there's a lot of crime and corruption, especially in the highest positions of our government. But I'd like to wrap this campfire up by thanking Shari Fitzpatrick and hope you all go and support her business. She has a great chocolate-covered berry business. I hope you will support Patriot Mobile. In fact, I don't normally do this, John, but I'm going to mention that now with expanded coverage choices that blanket America, Patriot Mobile is the only Christian conservative wireless service provider. You can build your own bundle with multi-line discounts. First responders and veterans pay even less. And you can also get a free premium activation and a free gift. So I'm reading the script of a sponsor who's got the balls to connect with a guy like Ted Nugent and John Brinks, who not only lives truth, logic, and common sense, goodwill, and decency, but we're not afraid to say it. We're not afraid to spotlight the cockroaches. We're not afraid to say, I'm not afraid to say I love President Trump. I think he's a great man. I don't think he inspired any violence at all. I think what's happening in America today is really unfortunate. But if I can leave my friends with this advice, people are asking, what can we do in these dire times? Positive spirit. I would suggest that the most powerful counterpunch to the Marxists and the treasonous behavior by our criminal elected employees is to be sure you and everybody you know is a member of the National Rifle Association. It's a grassroots family civil rights organization. If you don't have the right to defend yourself, you haven't got any rights. You should be a member of the National Rifle Association, Gun Owners of America. I'm a life member of the Texas State Rifle Association. But make sure that you are a member of a civil rights organization. And I really believe the NRA and Gun Owners of America are the two best in the country. And those are the organizations that put fear in those that would deny us our First Amendment rights and our Second Amendment rights. So, John, I think Shari was a perfect example of what you and I believe in. And I thank you and Courtney and Herbert and Linda and Doug and everybody for the Spirit Campfire and Patriot Mobile, of course. But I think, are you telling me that next Monday is the Super Bowl and that's when we're going to unleash this new platform?
We're going to unleash it. We're unleashing it either next Monday or the following Monday because it's an interactive platform. And now those who join us on the Spirit Campfire are going to have a chance to win all kinds of stuff while you're watching. Wow. That's going to be pretty amazing. Yep. So listen, I want everybody, take what Shari said, take what Ted said, and I'm going to just leave you with this one parting thought. I know for a fact that I know what Ted Nugent believes. I know that, and I think everybody knows what I believe. We both express it pretty clearly, and I know, and I'm not speaking on behalf of Ted because nobody does, but I'm going to say this on behalf of the Campfire. If you don't believe in the same things that Ted said or that I said, as long as you are not hurting someone, God bless you.
We support you. We support you.
We love you.
Absolutely.
We love you. Awesome. That is what it's all about because we will walk the walk and genuinely listen and genuinely be open-minded and genuinely love. And I think that Ted has draw the appropriate line. As long as you're not trying to do harm to others, I'll let you. You can say whatever you want and believe whatever you want, and I will support and fight for your right to believe what you want. You have the right to be wrong.
Absolutely.
That is a fundamental right. You could be wrong and believe something, and I still love you the same. So that's my point.
I can't wait, John, for this new platform because truth, logic, and common sense is still being suppressed and censored. And I hope that everybody will spread the word and get all your friends and neighbors and coworkers, people at church and school, and people that either share our beliefs or don't share our beliefs to tune into the Spirit Campfire. Because as we've witnessed, people of every imaginable ideology, walk of life, ethnicity, race, color, creed, gender confusion, no matter what is going on in your life, there are some truisms, some self-evident truths that we all share, and certainly it is summarized in the First Amendment, because if you can't express yourself openly and unafraid, this isn't the America that the heroes have died to provide for us. So, John, thanks for another great campfire. Thank you, Shari Fitzpatrick. And thank you, everybody that's been on here. I really feel your energy. I feel your attitude. And I appreciate it deeply.
God bless you all. Herbert, take us out. See you.
Live it up, y'all.